oh. I'm assuming it's
It is the green side,
green,
but it's
yeah.
it's a form of
Yeah.
it's not it has nothing to do with your core temperature.
Yeah.
It's just a form of hazing that will
Silver bullet,
teach a
they stick.
Marine.
They-
Here's the
I
deal
have
with
talked
anything
to many,
anal for
many
me.
corpsmen.
Like, what happens behind closed doors stays behind closed doors. I had a guy who was like, "Oh, my back hurts." I was like, "Well, here's the deal. That guy out there is going to ask me if I stuck my finger in your ass, and the answer that you're going to tell him is yes, and the answer that I'm going to tell him is yes. So we got an agreement. Do we have an accord, sir?" And I was like, "If you really want to glove up and check it, I'll tell you what to check for. But I don't know any better than you do. So if you want to get up in there and root around, by all means, have at it." But
I'm sorry, man.
we're both going to.
Yeah.
We're both
one
going
of
to
the biggest.
We're both
one
going
of
to
the
check the box.
Hey guys, welcome to the Sandman and Pyle show. I'm Pyle. That's Sandman. We have a very, very, very special show today. I'm nervous. I'm starstruck. We have Dave Bray with us today. Holy shit. I'm sorry. This is like Garth Brooks, George Strait, and like Leonard Skinner all rolled into one. Like this is amazing. Sandman, how are you doing, buddy?
Doing great, man. Excited to have you here, Dave. You know, we're not going to waste no time today.
Yeah.
This is our guest that for me, it was very unexpected because I seen you on every social media platform. And I literally, like, I dig everything you do without even knowing who you were until 5 minutes prior when he said your name. I was like, wait a minute, is that the singer that created the new Marine Corps hymn, like on the rock and roll type? He's like, yeah. I was like, holy shit, no way.
Man. Well,
dude,
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me on, guys. And we're just out here doing the best we can for God and country on a daily basis. And I know you guys. Somebody said Garth Brooks, but I don't want to be put in the same classification as a serial killer quite yet. But listen, it's interesting.
Yeah, Pyle, great. Way to go.
It's funny. It's funny because, some people are like, dude, you're this heavy metal rocker. And then other people are like, man, I love your sentimental, heartfelt stuff. And then other people are like, dude, I love your country stuff. And then I've even had people I've worked with, a guy named Jeremy Harrell and another guy, a police rapper. And I've even done hip hop. So like, I'm kind of all over the spectrum and known for a bunch of different little wedges of the musical community. So it's nice to be in that wide parenthetic range, So like I said, I just try to exercise what God gave me. So I like to push forward in that space. Yeah.
That's awesome, brother. That's awesome.
Thanks for having me on, though. I appreciate it.
AKA manager, sent me your bio. And so I want to read the first paragraph and then we're going to go from there because then we're going to talk about your military service, when you went in. And then we're going to get into what you're talking about now. And I know I'm going to see you next week because we've got a lot of stuff going on next week, and I know you're going to be a part of it, and it's awesome. Okay, Dave Bray, USA. For you guys who don't know who he is, Dave is a United States Navy USMC veteran who considers his music on a mission to be a continuation of his service. He has dedicated his career to honoring our American figures and heroes, our police, firefighters, military, and veterans. Now get this. Dave, this is what got me. Dave has over a decade of touring experience, 6 studio albums, millions of streams and views across all kinds of platforms. Dave has performed with rock legends like Aerosmith, Shinedown, Leonard Skinner, as well as country stars Charlie Daniels, Travis Tritt, Lee Greenwood, Brantley Gilbert, Hank Williams Jr., and Toby Keith.
Raise them up for Toby. There we go.
Raise it up. Which, by the way, and I'm glad you said I'm glad Toby's in there because after our first deployment, me and Sandman were in 3-8 together. We went to Fallujah, Iraq in 2005. When we got back, me and my machine gun squad, we actually saw Toby Keith in concert in the Walnut Pavilion in Raleigh, VIP, backstage with Mr. Keith. God rest his soul.
Love that, man. Yeah, he was cool. for real. And everything, the amount of like USO, like the base tours that he had done, a lot of that stuff he just did for free. Like he just did to, for the troops. And I love that. Yeah, his legacy is yet to even be completely unfolded. I think there's going to be way more that comes out about him as time progresses. But yeah, like I said, raise him up for Toby, raise him up for Charlie, and some of these amazing artists I've been able to, shake hands with over the years and share stages with. Man, it's been you start going down through all those names, and it's wild. It's wild, really. I mean, for what I've seen and done.
To share stage with George Strait, man, that was probably one of your top performances, probably, right?
Yeah, a lot of just like I said, all those artists, to think back and to think that I looked them in the eye and shook their hands and again had either the chance to open up or stand on stage with them is mind-boggling, and just a true blessing. You know what I mean? To have anybody recognize anyone for their art or what they do musically is tough these days, especially when you're competing with AI and you're competing with anything else. So, that window of exposure in time is really cool. Yeah. So it's we live in some of the greatest times and some of the craziest times at the same time. So I'm enjoying it, and we're enjoying the ride.
You're doing a hell of a thing, man. And we actually interviewed Colonel Ken Hopper the day before your 1775 club went like viral. Which the next day I was like, wait a minute, why is Dave Bray wearing a 1770? Why is he wearing that green? I had that shirt. Why is he wearing that? And I'm like, oh my God, they got Dave Bray. And it's just, sorry, I'm skipping ahead. But right now we want to hear like your beginnings, like
Yeah.
your Navy career, like your 2-2 stay, like start from the beginning, sir. If we'd love to hear everything. I know our
Yeah.
viewers want to hear everything.
Sure. I mean, listen, I grew up in small town America, like a lot of those, servicemen and women. When I say small town, though, we didn't have a stoplight. We had a roundabout. It was a farming community. Grew up farming. I pitching papers at 11 years old. Trying to hustle, trying to make whatever money I could at a young age, and working hard was the only way to do it. And we ran with some, unsavory characters and trickle down alcoholism in small towns, I guess you could call it. But we, like I said, you start into some of the dark places early, and it was something I wanted to get out of. My dad was a Navy guy. My brother was a Navy guy. A lot of the people I went to church and I was in scouts with and sports with, they all served. And I kind of saw that path as being something that was going to work for me. I was a really, really great sailor, but I was a really even better Marine. I was a better corpsman. I was a better in the dirt kind of guy. I didn't care much for the blue side of the Navy. The Dixie Cup Navy is what I call it. As soon as I kind of got there, I felt like, the square peg in a round hole. And luckily, one of my football coaches, he was actually an FMF doc, and he kind of guided me a little bit. He's like, man, get the hell out of the Navy. Go with the Corps with your people where you belong. The rest of the psychopaths, and put on a uniform and dress up nice and pretty and put a pink bow on it. So long story short is, crossed over, went to Field Medical Training School, or FMSS at the time. I actually graduated top dog out of that class, which I refer to as the Top Gun of the Naval Hospital Corps, but don't tell anybody. But anyway, graduated top dog, left that graduation. I was down at Lejeune and 15, 20 minutes from Johnson. And I showed up ready, motivated. And Senior Chief Bump was sitting there, and Senior Chief Bump's probably 6'5", 220 pounds, jacked. He's in his khakis. And I'm just like, dude, I want to be with whatever is the most high speed, low drag, unit you can put me with. And he's like, oh, we're going to put you a stay platoon. And I'm like, I don't want to stay anywhere. I want to go. I don't want to be anywhere. And he's like, no. They're a different group of dudes. They're like the sniper teams. And I was like, okay, I know how to shoot. I grew up hunting, I grew up outdoors. So, I didn't really know what I was getting myself into, but long story short is these guys, they trained extremely hard. They were the first guys in on workups, the last guys out on workups. When I showed up and actually introduced myself to the group, most of these dudes looked like they'd been in the field for about 2 weeks, unshaved, unkept, dirty, just sitting around cleaning big guns and gear, and Hummers that were filled with sand and dirt, like they're shoveling shit out. I'm like, all right, this looks like better than what I saw over there, where people are like camouflage is pressed and their pockets are flat. These dudes are like, their camis look older than the core itself. And I was like, these are my kind of people. So yeah, man, we got into it, man. And we were training for a workup, and apparently like every other corpsman that they had put with Staple Platoon had quit. And so they had lost a lot of faith in their corpsmen. And so I had some digging to do with these guys, because again, there's nothing worse than having to do a job, or I call it racing on bald tires, right? So if your track manager or your pit crew is going to throw bald tires on your car and tell you to go 200 miles an hour, you're not going to have a lot of faith in that vehicle. And as a corpsman, I had a lot of rebuilding of faith to do with my Marines. And like I said, they were used to the bald tire corpsman, and I was far from that. So I stepped into a deficit, and I kept pushing harder and harder and harder until I, elevated my trust in them and their trust in me to the point where we became what we needed to be in the field. And that was what we needed to be as we did our workup and did the 22nd MEU. From there, we replaced, I guess, the 24th. So they were coming out, we were coming in, and Monrovia, Liberia was kicking off at the time, and we were doing Operation Assured Response. So this is all pre 9/11, and SEAL teams and Rangers or SEAL teams and quote unquote MARSOC or Recon had done a lot of the setups and everything that was needed in and around the embassy in Monrovia in Liberia. So we basically walked into something that was pretty much set up as far as protecting that embassy and that consulate from any situations that were happening in the turmoil in the city. The downfall about that embassy and where it sat was that it was peninsulated. So it sat sort of backed into a corner. And as these rival factions were kind of going at it in the city, it was a matter of time before they were going to look for extra resources, extra ammo, extra food, and things like that. I'm talking about guys out there running around with, a web belt, some magazines, and a pair of shorts, and an AK. So they didn't have a lot to work with to fight the battle they were fighting in the town there in the Civil War. But they were getting moved back, and they were kind of looking every once in a while to the embassy, like maybe we should, maybe we shouldn't. And any of that sort of questionability was taken out of their minds very, very quickly by our Marines. And with a few, obviously shows of force and things along those lines. Again, it wasn't a serious situation. We went in country, went out of country. I think we did 80 or 90 days there as the 22nd, and then we turned it over to somebody else, and we finished up our med float incident free. Really, wasn't complete. I guess what you would describe as what you would want, especially as a young, hungry, FMF guy or, new Marine. You want something a little more action packed. At least I did. And so when I got back, I finished up that float and got back, and I wanted to put a package in. I wanted to go into the next level up and in-dock and things like that, which would not have been a problem for me. And the other side of that coin was they're like, hey, we're offering early outs. And I'm sitting there going, okay, go to, a special operations unit and put my face in the mud for another 5 years or 10 years, or get out and play music. And this calling to play music had started for me in high school. And so I had a little rock band that I was doing, and writing music. It was always a thing for me. I was still working even when I was overseas. I was getting packages with demos and things like that. And I was writing music and creating, and music has always been one of those things for me that was healing. It was my form of journaling. A lot of guys journal. I write songs. So one of those deals where I was given those choices, and I kind of felt like at that point in time, young, I still wanted to chase a career in the military, but I also wanted to do music. And I said, well, I gave 4 to the military. I can always come back to it. And instead I got out and started chasing music and never really looked back. Fast forward a couple years, I'm out of music. I gave up on it after like 7 years, moved to California, the whole 9 yards, try to live the dream. Didn't work out. Settled down, wife, kids, the whole 9 yards. I get this calling to do music again. And it was right like after 9/11, and seeing a lot of my friends that were still serving or still in, they were going over, they were deploying. And I'm thinking, man, I should have done more. I should have served more. I should have given more time in the military. By then I had had some surgeries on my ankle and I was not in the best health. And so the military for me, I was like, I can't really go back in and do what I was doing. So I was actually building MRAPs, and I was building the 88s, and I was building the Bradleys here at stateside, and I was working for BAE Systems. So all this is a lot to absorb. I hope you guys are following.
Oh, yeah, no.
But then that call to service was sort of met with my call to go back to the music in my life, and a window of opportunity opened up for me to do sort of both. So that's when my time with Madison Rising and all that began. And it was a combination of patriotism and music put together. And from there, it's all kind of a blur, man. It's since 2010, I've been completely either self-employed or with a record label. And we've just been pushing the music and the message. And that's where you get quote unquote music on a mission and the continuation of service.
Wow.
That's a lot, right? That's a lot.
It's good.
Have you ever been, nothing against Japanese people, but have you ever been to a Japanese airport and one of those noodle bars? Have you ever seen these people house noodles? That, like another bowl. I'm like, man, they're housing these noodles. But that's my, that's 20 years in hopefully 5 minutes or so.
Wow, man. That's, I got to say, that's probably one of the quickest we've had on the show. And it's so detailed. So thank you, Dave, for sharing that with everyone here, man.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, if you listen, we can talk about those segmented pieces, and some of the mindsets that in those different places, because I think I was blessed to see more than just one branch of service. I was also blessed to see more than one style of Marine Corps. I feel this wasn't just the regular Corps, and even out of that, I was blessed to see a lot of the struggle in my early post-military career in music, and I was obviously blessed to see some successes in music, which doesn't often come. And then the hard work and just trying to keep that boat afloat. Once you feel and taste freedom in your life, and you realize that you're the orchestrator of your destiny, and once you realize that that is the most valuable and most precious thing, and your family is depending on that orchestration to be good enough to survive and be perfect as you can get. Once you realize that, and that becomes your life goal, that's all you think about from the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep at night. And in between there, you have to align yourself with your higher power, with your physical, power, with your spiritual power, and with your, educational power and your mental. So there's a lot of things to unpack there. We can get into whatever you want, man. We can even talk about AI Atlas. I don't give a shit. You guys tell me whatever you want to do.
I want to know, are you a shellback? That's a big question that's on my mind right now.
No, but I crawl through more shit than most shellbacks because
he's a wog. Let the hazing begin.
You gotta remember, I was with Sniper Team, so we ate snakes and beetles
you guys
everything else just to live.
You guys were cool. We had on the 22nd MEU in 07, which was I was on. Our stay guys, I remember going through the Suez Canal. Or was it Suez Canal? The sniper guys are on top of the ship. These guys are facing like Egypt. These guys are facing like Saudi Arabia. Like, it's just crazy. Like, how many countries did you go to on that MEU?
Let's see. We did Italy, Spain, Crete, and Africa. And then I was in Africa. I was in Sierra Leone. I was in Dakar, and I was in Lungi. So I don't know. Call it 6. 6, something like that. Yeah.
Dude, that's crazy. During the Iraqi freedom era, the MEUs consist of literally sitting in the ocean and maybe going to what was the one in Africa that's kind of like a hub?
Djibouti.
The Djibouti, Africa. Yep, that's it.
Nice and cool in Djibouti, 24/7.
Yeah. Yeah. So to hear that, Marines like yourself, prior to when we went in, got to experience where our recruiters used to tell us, hey, man, you're going to travel the world. I guess that's what they meant by traveling the world is, going on a mule and visiting different countries. Australia used to be one of those too. If you got lucky. Yeah. But yeah, for us, unfortunately, Muse became Djibouti as a station hub, do crazy fire drills and training drills on ship.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then if you got lucky, you would ship out to Iraq as a support element for whatever battalion needed it.
That's right. Yep.
So yeah, so it's a learning experience for us, Marines that were through that era, to hear that that's actually true, that our recruiters were not lying to us.
So wait, you got which one of you guys was the 22nd MEU?
That was Richard. Yeah,
Okay.
I was with 2-2, kind of like yourself, but I was with Fox Company. As soon as I left boot camp, went to SOI training, Camp Geiger, in front of Camp, the other side of Johnson, and then went to Camp Lejeune into Fox Company. So yeah, warlords.
But I was 2007, 7 months, USS Kearsarge, the queer barge, as we like to call it. Sorry, no offense, Navy, no offense.
Don't look at me.
But we went to. No, I'm talking to the Navy people that are listening and watching.
I was just thinking, man, those are things that you have to sort out for yourself.
yeah.
That nobody can do that for you, man. You gotta dig around your own pile of bones in your own closet and get that shit sorted.
But we went to Rhoda, Dubai, Israel, Turkey, Crete, Suda Bay. We went around India. We went to Bangladesh. That's where we got our humanitarian service award was.
Oh yeah, you got to get one of them.
But we got it late. We got it after, like, we got a NUC, and then it got bumped up to like a humanitarian service, which was cool. But that was like 2 years after I got out, and I actually was just telling Sandman about the DD-215. Like, you can make changes. Like, if you get any more medals or ribbons or stars, you do a DD-215, and it's attached to your DD-214, but it's like it fixes like the discrepancies. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
Hell no.
I didn't hear that shit. He told me about this shit yesterday.
Hey,
I was
dude,
like,
I sent
who will even bother
to
go through all that all that trouble?
No, seriously, it is. It's not a myth. A lot of
even if it is true, I mean, think about it, right? You out of the Marine Corps already.
Yeah.
Who the fuck cares? I mean,
but if you get your ribbons after the fact, like after you get out, and you guys rate like other ribbons, you want to put those in your record, right?
I'm gonna put them there anyways.
No,
and if somebody ever dares to come and say you don't rate that, then they have another thing coming.
Yeah, they do.
You know what? I would like, though, while we're on the subject of this post-service thing, they made Lieutenant Dan a chief in the freaking Navy. They made him a chief, and I'm like, man, how does Lieutenant Dan rate making honorary chief in the Navy, man? I'm like, if you're gonna make somebody a chief in the Navy, give it to Doc Bray, man. Hook me up with that meritorious chief. I put that. I might, if you make me a meritorious chief, I might even swear back in and go reserves, man. I could pull off some, do some reserve duty.
I could see you as a chief.
I as long as I get if I get a hair waiver, I'd rock that for sure. Yeah.
So Dave, tell us a little bit about your experience on, like you mentioned earlier, being part of the Navy and then transitioning into the Marine Corps. How was that for you?
Yeah. Well, again, got out of boot camp. I was the recruit chief petty officer, which again is the I guess you could call it senior recruit person who runs the boot camp, and that group of people, our company was 167. And then I went to A school. I was master at arms, and then out of A school, I kind of started running with this group of dudes. We all went to Charleston together. Charleston Naval Hospital. We just figured get me close to a beach. We were just spent, our winter going to A school in Chicago, and we were freezing cold. So we're like anywhere warm. So we went down to Charleston, and it was one of the best duty stations ever, man. Charleston Naval Hospital. You got Topsail Beach. You got Isle of Palms. You got all these beautiful beaches.
Holly Beach.
Some of the best Folly Beach, you got some of the best fishing. You're like an hour from Myrtle. You're like an hour from
Savannah.
yeah, Savannah. You're just in such a sweet spot, and it was a great duty. But I was like a hospital guy, so I had to show up to work wearing a little white uniform, and I just didn't enjoy it. So I kind of started not raising hell. We just drank a lot and didn't show up. I mean, that's just all there was to it. We got in trouble, and they're like, well, if they're gonna keep punishing you, you know what I mean? So one of my punishments was extra duty, and I had to do that duty in the ER. And once I got to the ER on a Friday night, and we used to take a lot of civilian calls in and around the area. It wasn't the greatest area down there at Charleston, so we were taking civilian like gunshot wounds, and all these things were coming through. And I was like, holy crap, now this is what I'm talking about. Let's go. Like, this is high speed, low drag, people freaking out, and hands are bloody, and running IVs and getting stuff and tests and doing all this stuff at a high speed, airway, breathing, circulation, you know what I mean? And then on to the next one. And I was like, this is the greatest, this is better, this is the most fun thing I've done since I've been in the Navy, was working in the ER. So one of the doctors there was like, man, can you come back tomorrow? It was like a Saturday. And I was just like, yeah, man, I'll be here. And they're like, you don't have to. I was like, no, I'm in, man. As long as it's going to be like this. And I'm in. So Saturday night, I go in there 7 to like 5 in the morning or something like that. Again, it's packed, man. People coming in drunk, all messed up. And I'm like, this is cool. Right. So I'm young, I'm 19. And then he reported back to the captain or whoever was running the hospital at the time. Can't remember his name. And he's just like, hey, you got a rock star here in this kid. He not only does he know his stuff, but he should probably be looked at again. And they're like, well, do you think he'd be a good candidate for EMS and to put through the program over there, which is more schooling and paramedic and PALS and all this stuff. And he's like, yeah, absolutely, definitely. So he kind of got me off the rails as far as like bedside manner and issuing pills and like being a drone. So I was with EMS. I met Petty Officer Hilt, took me under his wing, and he kind of guided me. He was mentoring me a little bit. He was a former FMF guy, came back. He was EMT paramedic, and he brought me into that EMT world, showed me kind of how to skate and how to work. You know what I mean? So he showed me that balance of fun and the Navy and high speed with off time, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I was like, again, a fish to water. And then that was when I was offered. They're like, hey, do you want to go to Field Medical Service School at the time, Field Medical Training Battalion? We think you'd be a perfect candidate. We'll put your package in when you can go. So I was like, hell yeah, get me with the Marine Corps. And even more, I was like I said, it was way more fun for me. I'm a high action kind of guy, and again, it was a good vibe. It was definitely better than the Dixie Cup Navy.
Oh,
Dixie Cup Navy
yeah,
sucked.
man.
Yeah.
I've always said, if you are a Navy corpsman, I don't see that as the proper title for you guys, because especially when you come to line platoon or line company, you're pretty much doing everything we do.
Yep.
Oh yeah, like 5X what you guys do. You guys got it easy compared to
I know.
So it was fine. That was fine by me.
It was like, I always used to tell him, like, why didn't you join the Marine Corps, man? I'm like, you're doing the same shit we doing.
We love our corpsmen, though.
Same thing.
We love our corpsmen.
Yeah.
I guess because we didn't join the Marines because we always wanted just to make sure we had that extra reserve parachute. Be like, I'm out of here.
I'm out of here.
Pull the log, Pop. Pull it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I always wonder, man. I got to say, I served with some of the best corpsmen that I can possibly serve with. But those guys were like hard chargers,
Yep.
man. Like, they were always like ready to go, not afraid of combat, not afraid to get dirty, just kind of like what you describe yourself as, during that era. So yeah, man, I never understood that, but now I get an idea what that feels like. So thanks for sharing that with everybody.
Yeah. Dave, in comparison with green side Navy and blue side Navy, which side gives more silver bullets?
I'm not sure I understand what you mean.
Silver bullet? You know the silver bullets.
Yeah.
Who gives more silver bullets, the green side or the blue side? Like for heat casualties.
But what do you mean by
Silver bullet,
Say that
when
one.
you were a heat casualty.
Oh.
And they
But it's got
It is the green side,
in
but
there.
it's a form of hazing. It's not. It has nothing to do with your core temperature.
Yeah, it does.
It's just a form of hazing that will
Silver bullet,
teach a
they
Marine.
stick this thing up your
Eh,
butt.
Yeah. Oh, here's the
Dude, I
deal
have
with
talked to
anything
many,
anal for
many
me.
corpsmen.
Like what happens behind closed doors stays behind closed doors. So I had a guy who was like, "Oh, my back hurts." I was like, "Well, here's the deal. That guy out there is going to ask me if I stuck my finger in your ass." And the answer that you're going to tell him is yes. And the answer that I'm going to tell him is yes. So we got an agreement. Do we have an accord, sir? Yeah. And I was like, if you really want to glove up and check it, I'll tell you what to check for. But I don't know any better than you do.
Nah.
So if you want to get up in there and root around, by all means, have at it. But
I'm sorry, man.
We're both going to.
Yeah.
We're both going to
biggest.
We're both
one
going
of
to
the
check the
biggest,
box. Yes.
One of the biggest fears of every Marine in a line company, and for the viewers to understand what we mean by silver bullet, is, or donkey dick, or probably many more names, but most commonly known as silver bullet, is when we go on force march or maybe like a 3 mile company PT run. If any one of us falls down during the 20K, a 30K,
whatever, yeah.
or whatever we doing, if you fall down and the first thing you see is this Navy corpsman just sprinting, like he just saw blood, just sprinting to you, he puts you in a fetal position, puts your pants down, and sticks, I shit you not, a device that supposedly it's meant to measure your internal core temperature. And it's this fucking big. It's like 19 inches.
It's this, man. It's like right
So-
here.
Hey, I never had a gun. I never fell out. I never was a heat casualty. So I don't
Dude,
know.
I've seen that shit,
But
and I'm like,
the funny part is that why is the initial thing to go directly to shoving something up somebody's
that's
ass?
exactly. So it's a form. It's a
You
form of
could have a 4-inch freaking chunk of steel going through front to back.
exactly. But they'll check your core temperature.
We got to drop. We got to drop.
We gotta drop
yeah.
right now. Let's go. Let's go.
So I never understood that. Like I used to have some Marines that would fall down in during my time, and I will never allow some of these corp. Oh, but company gunny wants me. I say I don't give a shit what the company gunny wants. You're not doing that. I was like the guy fucking fell out. Put him on the bus. That's enough fucking shame on him because now he has to ride the fucking broke dick bus.
But
and
what?
Watch
My other question is you got a guy that fell out. He's humped freaking 20 miles, right?
Yeah.
What else is it gonna be, right?
Well, exactly.
Before we start an IV or dump a bunch of water on this guy, let's shove something up his ass just to make sure. That's just to make sure how hot he is. Before we cool him down.
Dave, Sandman, I am sorry for bringing this conversation. I just, for my knowledge, I wanted to know. I sometimes ask that question when we have corpsmen because they deal with that on a daily basis. I remember at a change of command ceremony, this fucking cat, he's like position of attention. We're there for like 3 hours. This motherfucker just bam. I mean, he hits the ground so hard, and the guys from the back of the squad come up, get him, bring him back,
pull his pants down,
and then we don't see what goes on with him. We just hear the Lance Corporal underground of like what happened to him, and so I would just wanted to know. So I'm sorry. I apologize.
Oh God, yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a form of hazing, and I don't know if it goes on nowadays with all the changes that Mothers of America have made into all the branches, right? But I absolutely, that was one thing I would refuse to pass on the baton on.
Good to know, Sam, man. Good to know.
Even with Marines came to me and
Marine Corps sets the standard, though. That's just the way it is, bro.
Dude, when I saw that for the very first time on a 20K, and I like literally, we're just hauling ass, and then all you hear is blah 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 blah, rifles backpacks and shit, and Marines falling. Corpsmen up, and I see this fucking corpsman just running for with a purpose. And I saw what he did to that guy. I said, I will never. I don't give a shit if I'm crippled. I will never ever fall out of a fucking anything in the Marine Corps.
There you go.
And I think that's the back then. I think that was the train of thought. If we do one example of what they do, they're gonna mentally kind of grow stronger. That's how fucked up the Marine Corps is.
Oh, yeah.
But that's how they make us.
That's why.
So,
That's and that proves the point of the corpsmen. I mean, they are there for us. They have our backs, thick and thin. They will sprint to us through fire, through fucking IEDs. That's why Sandman and I, we really appreciate the corpsmen and what they've done for us, what they did for our line companies. They're just, you guys are amazing people.
Utmost respect, man. Yeah, the utmost respect for those guys, man.
I don't know why. I don't know why this came to me today, but I was thinking about this, man, and I'm like, why is every corpsman not type O negative? That way, you could do a direct bloodline transfusion if needed. So you'd be a walking blood bank for your Marine if needed.
For the Marines, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's an interesting concept. It's one maybe that I don't know, DoD ought to look into, but I mean. I knew which ones, like which guys, what blood types they had. And I told a type O guy, I said, if I got to go line to line with you one day, get ready. And he's just like, does that work? I was like, I don't fucking know, but if we need to, we're trying.
Yeah. I mean, shit.
Yeah.
I mean, at that point, you try anything. Man.
Right. So
anyway,
listen, yeah, the green side was definitely more of a home to me. And even the intellect, the savage kindness, if you will, just like you said, it wasn't just like you're like, hey, corpsman will do this for you. There was something I think any Marine would do for anyone is and that's what we as corpsmen, again, when I talked about that deficit that I started at and had to at least get to, plain eye, but then you got to be above your Marines, just like you said. But I saw the Marines as the same way. I was like, I know if my shit is blowed up, they're going to come running through hell and high water to get me. So, again, with when you're sniper teams, you're so far away from your guys. I did a lot of like one-on-one training with each of the guys so that they could do their own patchwork if necessary. They could start their own lines if necessary. My guys were like baby corpsmen out there in the field, just like I was a baby sniper. I was a scout, went to urban sniper school. I trained on all the weaponry if necessary. I knew all the optics. I knew, basic shooting and basic windage and elevation and those types of things. I was pretty dangerous, but I was nothing compared to what the actual true trigger pullers were. I was, like I said, I was a great spotter. I had great vision. I could read landscape and I could read heat and those types of signatures really, really well, to give as much information as I could to my shooters. But, like I said, when you spend that much time kind of on the range and then downrange, everything is second nature.
Yeah.
Everything is, the comms is second nature. You don't have to identify everybody on the radio unless necessary. You just know everybody's like, when people are going to chime in and what they sound like, so it's like, it wasn't like, well, Whiskey Alpha Romeo, this is, it's like, no, it's just like, 5, this is, 5, 3, very, very, very small windows of comms that just everything was unified and united, very, very tight. And again, I was always looking for ways to just anything I could do to not only improve my experience in the field, but my Marines' experience in the field, even if it was just small little levels of comfort or, anything, just food wise, hydration or pills or anything that I could give them to alleviate long term. Some of the suffering situations we were in were extreme cold, extreme wet, extreme moisture, extreme heat. And, you got to remind these guys are in the glass for 8-12 hours a day sometimes.
Hydrate or
just
die.
looking down range. Yeah. And you start seeing shit and hearing shit and thinking about shit. And if I could get to them, solo or otherwise, I would do whatever I needed to do, Yeah,
that was, I can relate to that definitely, because there were many times where I will be on a post like that and just dehydration hits you out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And you don't even know that it's dehydration.
Yep.
And these guys would just come pull out their backpack, and it's like a mini pharmacy in there, man.
Yeah.
That shit was fucking awesome, man.
Yeah.
First thing they do is just give you that, like you said, give you the IV line. 10 minutes later, you're feeling like $1 million again, man.
Back in the game.
So,
Yeah.
Dave,
Yep.
speaking of, I'm saying, man, speaking of that, the little box of goodies that the corpsmen have, I actually refuse. I got hit with shrapnel in 2006 in Ramadi, and I told my corpsman no to the morphine, and I should have said yes. And I'm regretting it every day.
He's like, "Do you need morphine?" You're like, "No."
No,
He's
I'm
like,
good.
Now, do you need any more morphine?
No,
Yeah.
I didn't take it, but we love you, man, and we actually, and this is kind of a segue because we want you to talk about, what you're doing. November, I think it's November 10th. You're doing
Oh, you
something
think?
really, really special on November 10th. Can
Yeah,
can you
man.
can you
Marine Corps.
can you tell us what's going on?
Yep, Philadelphia. We're shutting down the streets of Philadelphia on 2nd Street in between Market and Chestnut. And we're working with the Ton Legacy Foundation, and we are putting out an amazing event for them that day. Obviously, if you've never been to Philly on the Marine Corps birthday, first off, it's a great time. It's a time to catch up with your friends and brothers from around the world. A lot of people fly in, guys coming from all over the place. It's just a party. Let's just be honest. But it gets wild. It's fun, and the band is going to be there. We are going to rock the streets of Philadelphia like nobody's ever rocked them before, other than me. About 10 years ago, I was there a long time ago with Madison Rising. It's time to come back and reclaim my territory and do what needs to be done.
And this concert,
That's
it's
awesome, man.
is it free for the people that are there?
Yeah, it's free, but we need to register just to make sure we got numbers, because I think they're going to have some things going on for the numbers that are there. So you got to go to theton.org to register. You can even do it once you're on site, but if we are prepared for the numbers that we're preparing for, we can give a little bit better idea of what we need to have together for the Ton Legacy Foundation. I know they got the Bombshells are going to be singing. The ladies, they're amazing. And then we got some great speakers. Of course, the band is going on right around 2:30, 3 o'clock. So get there early, get a good spot. I'm going to have the merch set up there. You're going to be able to get your USMC, AC/DC, Semper, Fidelis.
Yeah, man.
Back in black. Yeah. Dirty deeds done dirt cheap.
Yeah.
T-shirt there. This is one of our shirts. Again,
It's beautiful
love
shirt.
it, man.
Love it.
I'm gonna have a couple of them there. I am in Utah actually tomorrow until next week, so I'm going to where Charlie Kirk was assassinated, and we're gonna go through some things
Nice.
out there, and then it's going onto the Marine Corps birthday. But man, if you've never seen my band, people are like, well, what do you guys do? Obviously, we do some stuff everybody's going to know, right? So we do some stuff that people could sing along to, have a good time to. We do a little bit of that, like rock and roll. We do a little bit of country. We do a little bit of redneck shit. And then we do the Marine hymn. We do God Bless America. We do the Star Spangled Banner, the rockin' version. It's just a show for everybody. And then we take it down. We do a couple songs on the acoustic guitar just to get everybody singing. You know the deal.
Yeah.
You got to get everybody singing Country Roads at least once,
Yeah.
right? So, yeah. We just get everybody together, and when you bring a bunch of Marines that are there to party and have a good time, we are literally the perfect band for that situation. We're trying to get into some America 250 stuff next year. So if anybody knows anybody in that world, we'd love to rock the Star Spangled Banner loud and proud for the fireworks on the 250th. So we're trying to get into that space, but come out and see us. We'll be there again on the 10th of November for the Marine Corps birthday, right around 2:30, 3 o'clock, right at the Ton Tavern, 2nd Street
We'll be there, man.
between
That's-
Chestnut and Market. Yep.
And if you guys,
wasn't-
if you guys see, there's a big email blast. If you sign up for Bray USA, there's this email blast about the shirt and a CD. Can you elaborate a little bit on that, Dave?
Yeah, man. It's a thing that I do. Like I said, continuation of service is important to me. My albums, Music on a Mission, I don't know if I have one, but anyway, they're narrated storyteller records. And, it's first off, it listens like a movie. I did Music on a Mission 1 and Music on a Mission 2. Music on a Mission 2 was called Too Far Gone. But Music on a Mission 1, it's about patriotism. It's about faith. It is about continuation of service. And it's about a little bit about my journey. You're going to hear some songs in there that you know, and then you're going to hear some stuff that you've never heard. But long story short is it gives you a unique insight to what the musician is thinking, why he put the songs on the record, me being, why did I put the songs on the record? And you get just that detailed insight of where it came from, why was it written. And there's some really impactful, very, very tough subjects in there. And what I wanted to do was make sure this message got out. So even on the last track at the end of it, I basically do my outro and I say, this album is for you, but it's only for you temporarily. Just like our lives, our spirits, our lives, we're only here temporarily. It's up for us to give it up at the end and pass it along. And our legacy is all about passing things on. So I want people to listen to this record, throw it on your computer, download it, pack it up and hand it over to the next veteran or next fire or policeman you see, or the next soldier you see who might just need a voice other than their own in their head. We get wrapped around that voice in our head a lot. And I talk about the spiritual, emotional, mental, physical, and obviously the educational, or, the journey that's beyond all those things. And I think it's important with the suicide rate that we have in people and men and women of service. It's important to get out of our heads and listen to somebody else every once in a while. And that's what I believe is the mission behind Music on a Mission, is to be a voice of reason and understanding in a place that you might not want to go. But those doors will need to be open at some point in time in order for you to move on past tomorrow some days.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. You brought that up, Dave, because tomorrow we actually have a special guest that's going to help us talk about all the different
mental health stuff,
mental health issues that we facing within the country now.
Yeah.
Marines, for the most part, Marines are involved now, and it's what you said. It's gonna hit home tomorrow because it goes line in line with what we all go through post.
Well, I'll say a few things on this because I got a few stories.
Please do.
The issue with mental health today is that you're trying to fix mental health with more mental health, with a mental issue, but the two are not really truly connected. The connection between mental health is really, really based on the foundation of your physical health, and your physical health is based on the foundation of your disciplinarian, or basically your spiritual health. So if one of those three things, think about your body, your mind, and your spirit. If one of those three things is out of kilter or out of whack, you're not going to hit your target. So when you wake up in the morning, what's the first thing you think about? That's your spiritual health. That is that barely in and out of sleep. What's the first thing you yearn for? Is it to pick up a cigarette, or is it to maybe take a moment and just be grateful for the day and be in gratitude to the Lord, or be in gratitude to your higher power? And then what's the next thing you do? You've taken a moment to be grateful. You've taken a moment to be thankful. Maybe you picked up a little piece of scripture and focused on that a minute, thought about what it really truly means. Now you're going to move into your day. What is the next thing you do? Are you going to pick up a cigarette? Are you going to pick up a drink? Or are you going to get on your face and are you going to knock out some push-ups and get a little bit of blood pumping back through your body? And then what's the first thing you're going to drink today? Is it going to be a cup of coffee with 5 pumps of shit in it? Or is it going to be a glass of water with a little squeeze of lemon to wake up your system? You have to think that everything that you do is an awakening. Every day is a new awakening. So all these things just to get your day started on a positive level, just to beat the demons away. You have to take a few steps each and every day to get you farther and farther away from them. But when you start doing the right thing consecutively, basically, what are you supposed to be doing right now? What are you supposed to be doing right now? And the answer to that question is the next right thing. It's never going to be clear to you until you realize the next right thing. So if the next right thing is you look down and you see your laundry laying in the corner of your room, well, you might want to scoop that shit up and go start a load, right? And then what's from there? The next right thing, right? So I could really, I probably ought to get my, my house in order, start going through my emails and things that I need to actually get done today before I start doom scrolling through reels or whatever. The next right thing is got to be what you do next. If you continue to do the next right thing consecutively, and then you start the next day off the same way, you will start to wear down the demons that are trying to get you, the sharks that are chewing on your soul. But it's a daily commitment. It's a daily thing. Every day starts a new day. Give tomorrow a chance and change anything you can possibly change in order to get you to see tomorrow. These people that decide to make the permanent decision have not given up every single thing that they need to give up. Quit everything in your life. Quit your job. Quit your, your horrible habits. Quit eating. Drink water. Do nothing for one day and drink water for one day. Quit every single thing. Walk away from it all before you decide to make a permanent decision. And your life will change. You'll be spiritually awakened and you'll move forward into a new cycle and a new destination for your soul.
Dude.
Amen, brother.
Dude,
Amen.
That was very stoic of you, Dave.
Thanks.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's going to make some really, really good bits for our magic clips. So hopefully when that's done, I will send you all of them.
Well, I'm a corpsman, man. I still care for these soldiers. I still care for these men and women in uniform, and then especially my veteran communities, my Vietnam veteran chapter in York, Pennsylvania, I work very closely with. Go pet a dog. Go pet a dog. Go get in the water. Put your feet in the grass. Put your feet in the dirt. There's so much that can be done. But man, that I've been with those demons. I've snuggled up with that devil in the bottle. I have wrestled with everything you can possibly wrestle with. And until you decide to surrender to that higher power to give you the strength to start each day and be grateful for that strength every single day, nothing will change until you surrender.
Dave, that was 7 years ago for me when I put down the bottle. 7 years sober.
Good for you, man.
7.5.
Yeah.
And
Awesome,
you're totally right. Doing the right thing, and that takes integrity and discipline. And we all know what that is because that's forced down our throat at boot camp. Integrity is,
that's right.
Discipline is. You remember that, Sandman?
Yep. Well, before we let you go, Dave, if it's okay with you, how do you came up with the idea of having that version of the Marine Corps hymn? Because it's awesome.
Good question.
I mean, that is awesome.
Well, I'll tell you. Okay, so when I was with the band Madison Rising, I came up with the rock rendition of the Star Spangled Banner. So I was sitting on a train, and I was on a train from Pennsylvania, where I live, central Pennsylvania, Lancaster, Harrisburg, all the way up to New York. And I'm on this train, and this is a long story, but I'm on this train, and I'm cutting through Amish country where these 10-year-old kids are driving 5-mule spade bit teams through the churn the dirt, and then the girls are out hanging out laundry, and these little kids are playing. It's 5:30 in the morning. These kids are playing soccer, like organized soccer, in like jeans and like little coats, and I'm like, man, what kind of life is that? Like, I'm sitting there saying, wow, that's like the Amish community is like a time capsule of like the Puritans, these people that came here first. They just wanted to farm land, raise cattle, raise chicken, raise pig, smoke meats, feed their families healthy, praise God, worship, and continue on through generations. And that little time capsule had me thinking about, where this country started. And then as we were cutting through, you get into coal mining countries. You start to see some of the small housing developments, all the same, perfect. And think 1930s, 1940s, 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom kitchen, little tiny, but they're all the same. So you're in coal mining country, and you're thinking about those people that, stepped out of that and decided to chase a better life. Probably most of them came back from World War II and wanted to build something special. And then as you're cruising in, you start to get into the industrial spaces outside of Philadelphia. You start to see the spray paint, the trash build up on the chain link fences, and, the cars that are jacked up and sitting there for weeks, and, some gang signs and all these things. You start saying, man, this is sort of like slow deterioration of the poison that's in these cities. Then you're actually in Philly, and it is, then you see the riches on the skyline, but then you go into the belly of Philadelphia and you see the drogues and the homeless and all this stuff. So you look up and you see beautiful buildings worth millions upon millions of dollars. And then you look around, you see down on the street level, you see this heartache and this pain and this suffering. And I get out of Philadelphia and I start heading up through Trenton, New Jersey. It says Trenton makes, the world takes. That means, they're the ones busting their asses. You got your unions and all these people that are working. getting out of Trenton, you're heading up North New Jersey. Then you start to see the garbage piles, big giant seagulls everywhere, chasing around all the trash that's coming out of the city. And then you go in the belly of, again, you see that beautiful skyline, but you go into the belly of the beast and you pop up and you're at 30th Street, Penn Station. And it's kind of nice, but you start seeing the homeless and you start smelling the urine and you start looking around. And you're like, you know, New York City from a distance looks real pretty, but it's rough, you know. But that's the heart of America. Right there in 3 hours, I saw almost the entire history of the American people here. And as I was sitting there, I was riding the train and hearing the click clack tick 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 tick, and I was like, I started humming the Star Spangled Banner, the national anthem, and that's what started that rock version. I took that to the studio. I started working it in the studio. I took it to the guys. We started playing it, but after that, we had gotten a lot of success. And I was like, man, it'd be awesome if we could do America the Beautiful and God Bless America. And then the Marine hymn came to me. And so I started putting all these up, but the Marine hymn, I was like, okay, I'm going to give it a shot. And it's easy, but we needed something to tie it all together to make it rock. And that's that, you know, that OAO in between the verses. Yeah. And of course, it's a little different. But again, that version, the Marine Corps, people, listen, I love the Marine Corps. But man, you guys need to get off the X on a few things like artistic licensing. Nobody's messing with your uniforms. They're perfect. Nobody's messing with your history. It's perfect. Right. But like the artistic licensing, like people have gotten on me. You can't change the Marines hymn. It's supposed to be sung like this. It's like, were you around in 1775? Were you there?
Right there? Yeah, like what the who cares, bro?
Yeah, were you there? Yeah. I'm trying to honor the Corps with a new hardcore version, and you guys are coming at me about a syllable. I'm like, give me a break. So anyway, long story short is we did a version with the Madison Rising, and then I recreated that with my new band. And I just wanted, you know, I got to give a shout out to Patrick Verdi. He helped produce it. He did all the guitars. David Landrum, he's my drummer guy. His last name's Landrum. He's a drummer. That's crazy. And then my buddy Drew DeMore, he's also a Navy veteran. And we just, like I said, we got in the studio, we laid down the tracks, and we just put together this new version. We took a bunch of video that we had from some of our tours, and we're on stage waving the flag and just being proud and raising hell and just honoring the Marine Corps the best way we know how, and that's being loud and raising hell. So,
dude, that's awesome. Like I said,
that's awesome. Thank from both of us. Yeah. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, bless and honor, boys. Bless and honor.
It means a lot to me and to Sam. And this episode might put us, you know, in the annals of history. So,
is that with
not that annal, another annal.
Gotcha.
No.
But yeah,
little heat exposure.
Yeah.
Dave,
put it in the history.
Thank you so much, man.
I love it, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Just hang out for a little bit while it downloads. But again, thank you from the bottom of our heart. We love it, man.
People want to get the shirts. I got a bunch of merch, really cool stuff. I print all these shirts myself. So I got like the silk screen. Nice. They're not iron-ons. This ain't no Cricut bullshit. These are silk screen, old school rock and roll t-shirts. I print them all. DaveBrayUSA.com, DaveBrayUSA.com. I don't know if you guys can link that up.
Oh,
that'd be
definitely.
awesome.
Of course, yeah.
And then you're going to get any purchase from the store. You get a free autographed Dave Bray USA Music on a Mission CD to go along with it for free.
Say, man, I'll pick you up a shirt when I'm up in Philadelphia. So I promise.
Oh, I'm going to join.
You're going to join? Okay.
I'm going to join. Right. Yeah.
Dave, thanks, man.
I wasn't. I got back-to-back balls. So this week on Friday, I'm going to be in Nashville with this guy. And then the one in Philly, because it's a weekday, it was like, oh man, it's so tough for me. I'm in North Carolina, so to fly there, fly back the following day, regroup back to work. It's a lot of moving parts, but the last 3 weeks I've been hearing so much about that particular event that now I'm just gonna say, you know what, screw it, I'm fucking going.
Let's go.
God, we got him.
That's what I'm
we got him. But Dave, we love you, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Hey, everyone watching, thank you guys from Sandman and Pyle. We love you.
Love you guys. God bless. Semper Fi.
Yeah, Semper Fi, brother.
All right.
And cut.
Good.